It is 10 o'clock. Welcome in. This is Three Man Front on a gorgeous Thursday. Close to 80 degrees today. That's what the weatherman says. Going to be rainy tomorrow night for high school football. I'm sure there'll be raining somewhere where they're playing college football.
Probably a pretty good chance.
Probably, pretty much. Appreciate Ball State covering last night. Not a big fan of Toledo going over the 42 points last night.
The mighty men of Muncie.
These things happen.
They do. They look good in the Glass Bowl last night. Jason Candle got that thing rolling.
So what does the guy do in the end zone? Did you see that where he's like, did you see this? It's something where they're on a dunking booth, and every time there's a touchdown, then they dunk the guy in the end zone like a fan.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Nah, I don't know if it'd be cool in Toledo in November.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Well,
in Toledo, that happening.
It's cool if you're not the guy in the dunk tank, yes.
Hey, look who's back. Lugnut's back.
I know. I saw him in the office this morning when he came in. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Was he spreading his germs in your office?
No, I don't think he's contagious. I don't know. I'm getting over sickness as well, so we can't be sure who the original carrier was.
Let's just say the offer from the other day was still on the table and Landrum did not accept.
Hey, by the way, I still have that video.
Yeah, I knew that you were saving
We'll
that
share
for
that
something.
I have a video of something that potentially was going to upset the apple cart, and the viewers and listeners of this radio show would be shocked.
He doubled down and made the offer again this morning.
He did?
But it's not it's not erupting now.
I will just say this. If you thought that him using a stranger's toothbrush and brushing his tongue at Social Taco, if you thought that was bad, what was potentially going to happen a couple days ago after the show in the hallway?
Couldn't believe it.
And you got the friends and family discount because I was only going to charge you half of the toothbrush fee.
It got serious to the point to where Landrum had the money in his hand.
Yep. And then I thought about it.
And then Landrum's the one
I said, I do not want to be a part of this video that Pat is filming.
Yes.
So if there wasn't a video, you would have done it?
Potentially.
Well, Pat, now I'm out $100.
Was it 100 or 200?
I might have done it for 20 if we had talked it down enough. But
you probably would have had to pay him 20 for you to just stop.
Maybe. Maybe.
Hey, Conrad,
no, seriously, Conrad, here's your money. Stop.
Yeah, stop. No, you're going to have to pay me another 20.
Why are you grabbing my butt? Stop it.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so coming up on the show, I think I got this right now. My apologies to everybody involved around the Southeast. Had to kind of throw some audibles here a few minutes ago, but we're good.
Good.
Brett Norsworthy, 10:30. He will be on the program. Typically, you hear him at 12:30. He's going to be on at 10:30 today. Rodney Orr, his normal slot at 11, 11:45, Rob Pate. Matt Moscona from ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. He will be on the program at 12 noon. Tell us what's going on with the LSU coaching search. Got a big game coming up in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. You would almost be fooled because this has been about as dead of a LSU Bama week that I can recall.
Yeah.
Quite some time. Not a lot of buzz for that game. We'll talk to Matt about that. We will do Better to Forget It at 12:30. Typically, we do it Fridays at 12:30. We'll do that today. Landrum will be on his Learjet flying to Houston tomorrow. He flies separate from the team in his jet as he gets ready to work sideline.
It's a legroom thing.
Yeah. As he'll be on the sideline for Rice and UAB. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll go to Nashville and talk to Chris Lee, outstanding reporter for Vandy 247. Also with Southeastern 16, he will be on the program, gives us a little preview of Auburn and Vandy. So I think I've got all of that straight, I think.
We can pivot, man. It's no problem. We can adjust.
A lot of audibleizing.
You think about the course of this show and how many different things and scenarios, potential hurdles that we've been faced with, we've been able to overcome.
No, you're right. I mean, I was in the hallway and I was looking around going, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. We're audibleizing. Yep. That's what I was doing.
We had to burn a timeout.
Yeah. Sorry, but we got it right.
That's fine.
I'd rather talk about it.
I would rather talk about it, burn the timeout.
Yeah. That's what we did. We're all good. The listener it's going to be flawless like it is every day. Like 4 hours of just pure
Radio
gold.
Perfection.
See, that's so humble of Pat, though, because if he had never said anything, no one would ever know the disarray.
I know, but it bothers me. Y'all know how I am.
Yeah, but you know what? If there's one thing that we are very transparent on this show, and sometimes to a fault, I think the listeners appreciate the fact that even sometimes you, Pat, sweat.
Yeah, it was on me today. It was all on me.
So it turns out you're not perfect.
I'm not. I'm not.
So disappointing.
Yeah. Despite everyone in my family knowing that I am.
See, Conrad, you got to be careful who you look up to.
I know.
He looks up to me?
I don't
know.
It
was Landrum, and then that thing happened, and so I had to go to Pat.
We had a falling out.
Well, he wouldn't give you the money for that doing that disgusting.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I've lost my protege.
Well, we mentioned briefly, we had Maction last night, the final night of Maction this week. You had Ball State winning 17-13 over Kent State. Toledo in the Glass Bowl, they win 42-3. So tonight, you've got Georgia Southern at App State. That's a 6:30 game on ESPN2. Also at 6:30, this should be a very interesting game. I was talking to someone earlier this morning in the great state of Arkansas, and they tell me that Alex Golish, that is picking up steam in Northwest Arkansas.
I think that would be an awesome fit.
I think it would be. And what did I tell y'all about a week ago?
Yeah.
There's a connection. Alex Golish's wife is from Greenwood, Arkansas. Matter of fact, when he was a GA at Oklahoma State, she was still living there in Northwest Arkansas, and she had a friend that knew someone that was on the Oklahoma staff, and Oklahoma State staff when Golish was the GA, and that's how they were introduced. So he doesn't get to Northwest Arkansas very often anymore, obviously, since he's in charge of South Florida's program. But tonight, he's taking on another Arkansas guy, Kevin Traylor. I mean, he's a guy that was at Arkansas, and a lot of people in Northwest Arkansas, they think he's a really good football coach and never know if his name will get bannered back and forth. I'm just sensing that the Petrino thing is starting to wane.
Yeah.
Maybe the fact is that you lost to Mississippi State at home.
Again, I'm not there's a lot of different factors. It's just not Bobby Petrino, and I'm not even considering the motorcycle deal. Well, a little bit maybe. But just as a football coach and where we are in 2025, and you look ahead of the 2026 season, I think that fresh and giving a guy like Alex Golish, who is not super starved right now as far as resources at South Florida, but give that guy a shot there.
Yeah.
I think Alex Golish is, first of all, he is a fine person, but also he's an innovative and very bright football mind. You've already seen that with what he's been able to do there in Tampa.
Yeah. And I've said it from day one. Yes, the motorcycle deal, he's already had his chance at Arkansas, and he blew it. I just don't understand why Arkansas, if he had rolled off, because I think he took over, he was going to have 7 games left as the interim head coach. The offense has looked better. The defense is what it is, but he hasn't won a game.
My guess would also be that you could attract a better staff with a guy like Golish than you could Petrino.
Yes.
I have not heard super favorable things about working with the guy for the guy.
No doubt. No doubt. So we'll see what happens. But I was happy when this individual told me. He said, I said Golish is picking up a lot of, and I'll just say this. I'm not reporting this. I was also asked if Kane Womack would be someone that would be interested in the Arkansas job. And my response was he did a really nice job at South Alabama. I think it's a hot and cold relationship with Alabama fans in regards to the way that he's run his defense. You correct me if I'm wrong, Conrad. Did I say the right thing there? You being an Alabama fan?
I think that's spot on. Yep.
Okay. I don't think Kane Womack is a bad defensive coordinator, just like I didn't think Pete Golding was a bad defensive coordinator at Alabama. But the bar is so high, especially at Alabama. So I'm not sure if a lot of Alabama fans would cry crocodile tears if they had to find a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be heartbroken.
Okay, good. So I didn't speak out of turn. I was asked that question directly about Kane Womack.
They're not going to riot in the streets if he remains, but you're right. It's not like losing it would have been Pruitt when he was there.
He's solid, but if there's an opportunity for him to go somewhere else and you to bring someone else in that maybe is a little better, I don't think Alabama fans would be upset at that.
To me, and I'm not involved in the hiring, I'm not the one that's part of the Tyson family and write a bunch of big checks to the wonderful people in Northwest Arkansas or the Walton family. But I'll just say this. I would hire Kane Womack every day of the week and twice on Sunday before I'd hire Bobby Petrino as the head coach.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But so we'll see.
Well, another name that's getting a lot of buzz is Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, there apparently Josh Pate, I think on his podcast, or he said something flippantly about keep your eye on Lincoln Riley.
Well, see, I
Maybe
didn't
not
even
for-
see that.
Not for
I
the
got
Arkansas
called.
job. Not for the Arkansas job.
I saw Texas Tech.
But possibly,
I got a phone call from somebody just confirming who Lincoln Riley's representation was. And I think it's Trace Armstrong, right?
And if that's the case, Trace Armstrong was Brian Kelly's agent at LSU.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe this time
We don't know what his contract looks like.
Maybe this
number
time
one.
Lincoln Riley is going to LSU because last time that was the
He was actually telling the truth. He said he wasn't going to LSU, but he was
going to USC.
correct.
Do you think? Well, and so this is where it gets interesting, though. If you got guys that currently have contracts to the moment, James Franklin, is he taking the Virginia Tech job as of yet?
I've been told that there's a contract on the table.
Contract that he's
waiting
been
for
staring
him
at.
to accept, and hadn't happened.
His name has been linked to that job before, but is he potentially, because these guys, they hear it a couple of days, but at least before we do, from the rumor mill and from the agent gossip. Could James Franklin be possibly holding out for something like that? Maybe a USC. If Lincoln Riley were to leave, I could see James Franklin being a fit in L.A.
Well, there's a reason why James Franklin hired Jimmy Sexton about a year ago.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Sexton will do Jimmy Sexton things. When we come back on three-man front, a lot of conversation nationally about this Auburn job. Is this one of these jobs that, especially in the SEC, is it an upper tier job, nationally speaking? What do people think? Is this a good job? Is this going to attract top candidates? Well, one national pundit says Auburn's not a very good job. We'll get into that next on Three-Man Front. Oh, I'm sure Lincoln Riley loves Los Angeles. We'll see if in this cycle he goes anywhere else. In just a moment, we're going to play you a clip of a national college football pundit that says Auburn's just not a very good job. We'll get into that next on Three Man Front.
Well, you don't want to get caught in the cold, so schedule your system checkup now from a Train comfort specialist. Train has been recognized for 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand, and they're our exclusive home comfort partners here at Jock. So go and visit train.com to find a comfort specialist near you.
So I guess it was about a few days ago, or actually it was before Hugh Freeze. We kind of had a conversation on this show. I think, Conrad, you said you think the Florida opening is a better job than Auburn, and Landrum disagreed with that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Joel Klatt, host of the Joel Klatt Show, he is the national college football analyst for Fox. This is what he said on his show yesterday in regards to the Auburn opening.
I don't think Auburn is a great job. In fact, if you look at it and you stack it up against the others, so now we've got these 8 jobs open. We've got LSU, Penn State, Florida, Arkansas, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, and Stanford. It's not better than those top 3, LSU, Penn State, and Florida, in that order. Probably better than Arkansas, probably, and then better than UCLA, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, and Stanford. So it's right there. It's probably the 4th or 5th best job open in the current cycle of the 8 open. Here's the thing, okay? Like, it's not a great job if you're not even the best or biggest or most important program in your own state. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Is what it is. And Auburn has a little brother complex. They just do. They're not Alabama, and it's not even close. And yet they want to be Alabama. So they feel like their expectations, and they operate from a booster perspective and a program perspective as if like, well, our expectations are that we're Alabama, but you're not. You're not. Even the championship, and I know they played for a championship against Florida State, but even the national championship that they won, it's like, hey guys, you had Cam Newton, you had Cam Newton, who was, I can't think of another player in college football that almost single-handedly dragged his team, to a title like Cam Newton. That defense was that and the 19 LSU defense statistically were a couple of the worst defenses to win national titles in the last 20 years. I think that the expectations at Auburn don't line up with the reality of what Auburn is. That's a program that is not even, the best program in their state. Obviously, Alabama is in your state. Alabama is Alabama.
That was Joe Klatt.
Okay, well, if you compare any program to Alabama, that's going to be tough. I'm not going to go through all the things he said. But as far as I love how Joe Klatt speaks for Auburn people and how they feel about Alabama or wanting to be Alabama. I think it is a really, really good job. I agree with him. It's behind LSU. It's behind Penn State. I do think it's better than Florida. If you want to make the argument that they're equal, that's fine. But think about this. Right now in this coach's cycle, hiring cycle, when would you be able to say, when you look at LSU and Woodward getting fired, they name Burge as his replacement, but all of those cooks that are in the kitchen right now, Florida with Scott Strickland, who they're not going to allow to make a hire. Right now, you would say that Auburn, out of those 3, it appears their athletic department is in a lot more order than the other 2, and you haven't been able to say that very often, if at all, in the past few decades.
So, in your opinion, Auburn looks like a more attractive job just because it appears that the alignment is probably better now than it's been in years past.
Not only that, though, you do have tradition. He just brought up the Cam Newton year, but you can win football games there, but the money's good, the resources are good, the fan base is good. It's a great place to live. Now, there's other factors that you could throw in as negatives. I'm just kind of taking the all-encompassing. If we're going off of record the past 10 years, then no. If you're just strictly basing it on record or championships the last 10 years and that's what defines a great program to you, then you win the argument. But I'm just kind of throwing everything in there. There's a lot of coaches that don't have to work anymore at a lot of places, but especially ones that worked at Auburn. Seems like a great job.
From that standpoint, it is a great job. I mean, I guess there's a couple things in there that I would say I agree with. I mean, it's like Landrum said, right? Just because you're in the same state of Alabama. I mean, outside of like what, Georgia and Ohio State, like you can't. There's not really a whole lot of programs that you can't compare to Alabama. So I don't think that's fair. And the whole Cam Newton thing, it's kind of a weird argument to make in my opinion, because I think you could say the same thing about that Florida State team that beat Auburn.
Joe
What would they be
Burrow.
without Jameis? What
Joe
would that
Burrow in
LSU
19.
team have been without exactly? What would Alabama have been like in 2015 without Derrick Henry? Right? Like, I think you can go back in a lot of national championship teams. You could say, well, what would they be without their best player? Obviously, I don't agree with that. I do agree, again, like I said, about the Florida job. I think Auburn's probably the fourth best job that's open right now. I think it's an interesting argument with them in Florida, but I think LSU and Penn State are ahead of them. But his idea that it's not a great job, I think Auburn is an excellent job. Just because it's not as good as some of the best jobs in the country doesn't mean it's not a really, really good head coaching job. And I do agree with Landrum, right? You do seem to have more alignment now in your athletic department than those other programs do. So, I don't know. It's Joel Klatt.
It's Joel Klatt.
I mean, yeah. Nothing like the Big Ten guy sharing the perspective of the Auburn fan base that I'm sure he's very in touch with.
Yeah, right.
That would be my
He
kind of big takeaway.
likes to speak for other people, especially here in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I could come on here and say the same. You're never going to be Alabama. Obviously, you're not. But like, you're not trying to be.
Well,
Alabama.
here's
like, it's okay.
So let's take a job like Colorado. I think Colorado's a great job. Deion has made that a great job because they handed Deion the keys to the kingdom, gave him everything that he wanted. You look at the expectations historically where they've been the last few decades, but it's all in the eye of the beholder. Liberty, we've been told, could be the greatest college football job that's out there. Why? Because of demand, what you can do in your personal life while still heading up a football program. You get paid handsomely, and you want for nothing.
Yeah, he didn't seem to mention the fact that, despite all the issues that Auburn's had, clearly they have people that are willing to put their money where their mouth is and support the program. They have one of the best. Think about how bad that program's been and how they're still selling out every. Like, there are a lot of really good things about the Auburn job, but of course, he's not gonna. That would hurt his narrative, so he's not gonna bring those up in that.
Well, you think about the pros of the job. This is just me, my opinion. Facilities, they rank high in the SEC. Loyalty, crowd enthusiasm, that never wanes, no matter how good or bad the football team is. You finally got administrative stability. I'm talking about John Cohen. He signed through 2029. You've got a president that obviously is doing what a president should do at a university, which is you hire people and let them do their jobs.
Yeah.
And so that's what John Cohen is doing. The roster, whoever gets this job, it's very talented. It's going to be deep. I know they got to try to keep people like Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight there, but it's a really good base for whoever is coming in. And also think about this. Hugh Freeze was the 36th highest paid coach in college football. There's a lot of room there for if Auburn finds the guy and they want to, let's say, overpay for him, they can.
I'm told 10 to 12 million is doable for Auburn.
Not a problem.
Per year.
They went the cheap route with Hugh Freeze.
Right.
They went the cheap route on paying him off. So there is room there for Auburn to attract some really, really good talent. NIL spending is not a problem. Auburn is upper tier in that category. So those are all the pros. But you cannot look past some of the cons when you talk about that job. This is a very deep and difficult league. And when you are placed literally right in between Georgia and Alabama, there's always going to be an arms war between those two schools. Always is.
Yeah.
With players, facilities, and just everything. It's an uphill battle. It's very difficult. Auburn hasn't won more than 6 games since 2019.
Yeah.
They haven't won 10 games since 2017. And guess what? The league just got tougher by Texas and Oklahoma coming in. It's not going to get easier.
And now
look at Auburn's schedule the next 3 years.
Well, and now the Missouris of the world.
They're winning 10 games a year.
They're winning 10 games a year. South Carolina every now and then.
Vanderbilt.
That's a team that'll beat you. Vandy, what they're doing.
And I'm not saying that Auburn's going to go out and hire a first-time head coach, but if you look at the history of Auburn, the last time that they hired a first-time head coach was Doug Barfield back in 1976. And we all know how that ended up. Not good. He was promoted from offensive coordinator to head coaching position. That didn't last very long. The last assistant coach hired for the job from outside the program was Chuck Jordan back in 1951. So there's a ton of pros to this job, but there's also some cons that you cannot overlook in regards to this job. And more than anything in the world, the cons to me is just the fact that it's so daggum competitive. I mean, it was tough before NIL. It's just a lot more tougher for everyone, not just at the Auburn job, but just for everyone.
No, you're right, Pat. It's always been. You've been sandwiched in between Georgia and Alabama and then trying to maintain. And Auburn has done a good job over the years of getting those players and finding those players and having those special seasons at times. It hasn't been as consistent as Auburn fans would have liked. But you're right. You got to get a guy that gets it. But I think now you look at when you're hiring a coach, this is not your forever coach. This is somebody that's going to continue to push your program in the right direction. And with all the revenue that's at stake, someone who's keeping your doors open, your patrons happy, and you're growing financially, and your P&L sheet looks better than it did before.
You just need somebody that going into the job totally understands what the undertaking is.
You don't need somebody, right, that it takes 3 years to try to figure things out. Not this day and age. Really anywhere that wants to be competitive.
No, and I'll say this about Hugh Freeze. Do I believe that Hugh Freeze genuinely loved the Auburn community and being a part of that? Absolutely. But that's not enough, right, to just love it. You have to understand what is at play there, and you have to be a guy that can go in there and say, we're going to do things my way. I know what is best for this program. I know how to lead us into the future. And you need that guy that believes in Auburn, not the guy that's, well, this seems like maybe the highest paycheck I can get, so I'll go take that job down in Auburn.
And we've heard about the job interviews that have taken place with high-profile candidates in the past, and we hear about them after the fact. Pat, you bring up the Kirby Smart sitting down with Auburn. You've had other coaches, Brent Venables. He's been very outspoken about that time there and not having the keys to the kingdom. I'm being told that Auburn, whoever they hire, they understand, and whoever was riding the fence or reluctant to hand over all the keys to the kingdom, that Auburn is prepared to do that with this next hire. I don't think Hugh had he certainly didn't have all the keys to the kingdom when he was hired.
When we come back, we'll find out what's going on with Lane Kiffin. Brett Norsworthy from the Ole Miss Radio Network, WHBQ Radio. He will join the program. We'll ask him for an update, if there's an update. Where's the extension that Ole Miss is supposed to be formulating and putting together to keep Lane Kiffin from going to Gainesville or go to Baton Rouge? We'll ask him about that and the current status of the SEC. That's all straight ahead on Three Man Front. The Courtesy GFC text line is always open at 205-834-9450. We'll hook up with Brett Norsworthy coming up momentarily. Next hour, we will go to Tuscaloosa and Auburn. Talk to Rodney Orr from Tider Insider. Also get an opportunity to check in with Rob Pate. First time we'll have to talk to Rob since the firing of Hugh Freeze. He kind of detailed his thoughts last Thursday that no matter what happened in the Kentucky game, he thought that the clock was striking midnight for Hugh Freeze, and it did.
The die was cast. Pat, would you like your daily betonline.ag coaching odds update? Because we do have a little bit of movement.
For the Auburn job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, John Summerall leading the way. It's changed just a little bit. He's at plus 190 as the odds-on favorite. DJ Durkin, his odds have shifted just a little bit. He's at plus 300, but we have a new name at number 3. Louisville's Jeff Brom.
Interesting.
Plus 400.
Very interesting.
Kenny Dillingham, he has moved down the list. James Franklin is 4th at plus 500. But Jeff Brom, as we were doing a trip down memory lane yesterday, I forgot that Jeff Brom actually coached at UAB as the quarterbacks coach under Garrett McGee.
Yep, at UAB.
So if that's your target, then you sell him on getting back into the state retirement system. I don't know how many years he had.
Brom's a really good football coach.
He is a really good coach.
I mean, when you can win games and do what they did at Purdue.
Yeah.
And, he went back to, obviously, his alma mater in Louisville because he was the quarterback when they beat Alabama. I think that was the 1990 Fiesta Bowl. He was the starting quarterback.
There is a part of me that thinks that John Cohen, because he is the guy that's making this hire, is going to swing big and try to land a really, really big fish, make a big splash. What that looks like, does that look like John Summerall? I don't know, but maybe it's a name that's not on here or nobody would expect to leave where they currently are. Just a hunch, not an overwhelming feeling, but I would keep an eye open for that.
Yeah, I would love to see, especially on these coaching hot boards and the Vegas perspectives. I honestly have never met anybody that bought a ticket on somebody.
For that?
Yeah. I've never known anybody to do that, but I haven't.
No, I've never done it. I do enjoy looking at the odds though.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy a couple of years ago when they had Greg McElroy was listed as the 10th or 11th best odds to be the Alabama head coach.
Yeah, because right now Florida, their leading guy, the odds-on favorite, is Lane Kiffin at minus 150. Eli Drinkwitz is next, then Jed Fish, Franklin Lee, and then Brent Key.
So if you sit there and you look at these coaches that are being mentioned, let's just take the Auburn job. Obviously, that's the one we're talking about. Hugh Freeze was 1-12 against ranked opponents. 1-12. So if you start looking down the list of potential candidates that we are hearing, okay, doesn't mean it's going to be a final list or it's the John Cohen list. These are just the names that we're hearing. Let's just take, for instance, Jeff Brom. You just brought him up. He had pretty good odds, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is 4-4 against ranked opponents in his career. 4-4. That's currently at Louisville. He's 11-16 at both Purdue and Louisville against ranked opponents. But as we just mentioned before, my goodness gracious, what he's been able to do and win at Purdue has been pretty special. What about Eli Drinkwitz? It's another name that's been bannered back and forth for not only the Auburn job, but maybe the LSU job. He is 7-16 at Mizzou against ranked opponents. Keep in mind, he started out 0-7 in top 25 games at Mizzou. So he's 7-9 since then. Not bad, but 7-16 overall. He does have wins over Ohio State and Tennessee on the board. Clark Lee up at Vanderbilt. We all know that until late last year and this year, it's been problematic. He's 4-17 against ranked opponents. But he started, obviously, 0-12 against ranked opponents. So he's done pretty good, 4-5. over his last 9 games. Brent Key from Hewitt-Trussville High School, the head football coach at Georgia Tech, he is 6-5 against ranked opponents. All 6 of his wins versus ranked teams have come against ACC schools. Isn't that something? He is 6-1 against ranked opponents in the ACC, but he doesn't have a win when he's played someone outside the conference that is ranked. What about Kenny Dillingham, former offensive coordinator at Auburn? He is 6-6 against ranked opponents at Arizona State. He went 0-5 against ranked opponents in his first year at Arizona State, but he is tearing it up right now. He is 6-1 in his last 7 against ranked opponents.
Ooh.
So he's done really, really good. Of course, last year we remember he had the conference title game against Iowa State.
Big game,
also,
Dilly.
he had a close loss to Texas in the college football playoff. And what about the name that we keep hearing everyone talk about? John Sumrall. I know it's a small body of work, but he is 0-4. He's never beaten a ranked opponent. Now, it might change tomorrow night because he's got one against Memphis. He was, if you think about what he's been able to do so far, I mean, again,
2 of those losses are to Ole Miss.
yeah, I mean, it's a very small body of work. But he's 0-4 at Tulane, and he's 1-2 at Troy, so he's 1-6 overall against ranked opponents in his career. But that is a group of 5.
Yeah.
Going up against some big boys in non-conference play. Not making an excuse. I'm just trying to put this in a proper perspective. All right, when we come back, we'll try to catch up with Brett Norsworthy at WHBQ Memphis. That is next on 3-Man Front. It's 10:43. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. Let's go to Memphis, Tennessee. Talk to our good friend Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio, the Ole Miss Radio Network. We've been spending a lot of time, Brett, talking about this Auburn job. And I know you have said on this program publicly that you believe that if a school were to call Lane Kiffin, that the monetary situation at Ole Miss, that is not going to be an issue. Now, if he decides that he wants another challenge or he wants to leave, that's completely separate to the fact that Ole Miss has the capability of matching anything that is out there. So I am just curious, has there been any more talk about maybe a possible extension for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss?
Yeah, Pat, I think all that is in the works for sure. And some are saying really close, and some are saying that it could be a while. It could be into the open date. It could even be into when the regular season's over. But we also know the calendar, and we know where Ole Miss potentially could be with that calendar. I think he stays at Ole Miss, but I tell people all the time, one of these days he's not going to be the head coach at Ole Miss, and he's done us just a great job. I don't think many thought he would be into year 6, and there are a lot that don't think he'll start year 7. I do. We'll see it play out. And I know the best way to ensure it is to win. Saturday against the Citadel, and then at home against Florida, and win in the battle for the Golden Egg the Friday after Thanksgiving, and then the calendar really would kind of fend off other suitors, and the monetary part, it's all going to be there, whether it's for his funding, assistant coach funding, commitment to NIL, that has all been committed.
Brett, and without you speaking for his agent, Jimmy Sexton or Lane Kiffin, you mentioned the financials. It was reported that there was a standing offer from Florida for $13.5 million. Reports that Jimmy Sexton said, hey, it's going to be $15 million a year if you want Lane Kiffin. Financially, any guess as to what Lane would potentially want outside of salary pool for assistants?
I think just the commitment from administration and the collective of to always be there where you can go out and get players, where everybody's going to get the house settlement money, and we're going to go through that fast. People can't believe how fast, and for other sports and for sports that are non-revenue producing, how quickly we're going to go through that cash. I mean, it's going to be, $20 million just gone through in a blink of an eye. So you're going to have other funding, kind of a free agent pool. And we're using professional football terms because that's what it is.
Brett, in regards to the Auburn job, it became official on Sunday, in which they have decided they're going to move on. They're now in the market for a head coach. We've been debating ourselves where this Auburn job is. We know where it's been historically. It's kind of been a hit and miss situation over the course of the last 8 years. But overall, currently, with the jobs that are open in the SEC, where would you put the Auburn job?
Well, I would put it certainly behind LSU 1, Florida 2, and then Auburn 3, and Auburn with a clear separation to 4, which 4 right now would be Arkansas. I mean, night and day difference between Arkansas. It just is. But we all know the difficulties of it, and we also all know the assets of it. And there are plenty of assets. But one thing that has changed in that we're kind of making up as we go every year, these pickup football teams. Everybody starts over a little bit every year, some wholesale. And that kind of hurts the old Auburn way of recruiting Georgia, recruiting Alabama, recruiting the Panhandle. Now you're just all out there, kind of throwing spaghetti against the wall, trying to find the right fit and the right player. And it's just been some colossal misses, with Brian Harsin. And y'all know how I felt on the day that he was hired about Hugh Freeze. I thought it would end ingloriously. I didn't think it would be this quickly. And I had 9-3 for Auburn this year, and I really believed that. And I thought he would rebound with finally having a quarterback, but he didn't. He never had quarterback right. And to see him through the years, really after Ole Miss, even his last year at Ole Miss, at Liberty, at Auburn, just his aversion to wanting to run the ball when he had Charquez Hunter, when he had other people that could run the ball, He just wouldn't. He wanted to throw it every down or have the quarterback run it. Auburn football is about having a big-time tailback. They always have, and to just have an aversion to wanting to do that, it got him. You just can't play. You can't play flag football. You got to run the ball and play defense. Now, his defense did play very well this year, but isn't it funny? Both Gus Malzahn and Hugh Freeze, the high school stories, both have played out, and at the end, both were kind of trying to rely on defenses, not their forte offense.
So, Brett, with all of that being said, maybe not, and if you want to go specific with a coach's name, that's fine, but what type of hire do you believe that Auburn needs next following Hugh Freeze?
I just think John Summerall is perfect for there. Knows the state from Huntsville. He played at Kentucky, knows the SEC, and knows what it takes, and knows Troy, having won there. He knows that state. He knows what it takes, and he's just an impressive person. He was linebackers coach for the Matt Luke years at Ole Miss. Coach Freeze hired him, and then after he was out, Matt kind of inherited the staff and got John Summerall. He's just a great guy, guy's guy, tough guy, football coach's guy, good family man. Would definitely fit in with the Auburn image and what Auburn really taps into, and they do it very well. And John would do that for them.
All right, let's talk college football playoff rankings. They come out the other night. Any big shocks, surprises to you? Did the committee give us a message at all?
No, I think Jocks' very own Greg McElroy had it right in the studio show of, there's just not a lot to be mad about. Some dug real deep and found enough, I guess, to slight to Miami, who won head-to-head over Notre Dame, but Miami cost themselves last week in that loss at SMU. But no real surprises. We need a little more time. Now, this week, here's one for Ole Miss. Ole Miss can win 55-0 over Citadel, but I think regardless, the winner of Texas Tech BYU will probably jump them next week and probably deservingly jump them next week. Ole Miss could fall a slot next week even after winning against the FCS opponent. But, we got to play it out. I still, y'all know, I wanted 12 at larges. The idea that we have to have all these conference champions and we have to have the group of 5 team, it just blows me away. But it's the deal we entered into. But let's don't enter into that deal with 16. At 16, let's have 16 at larges. The best meritocracy, no participation trophies.
Brett Norsworthy joining us here on 3-Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. Eye test only, Brett, if you were to say the best team in the Southeastern Conference right now, according to eye test, is it Alabama or is it too close to call?
I think it's Alabama, and I know that makes the A&M people mad. A&M in 2 wins gave up 40 and 42, 40 to Notre Dame and 42 at Fayetteville. But I do think they are getting better as the season's gone on, and Marcel Reed has gotten a lot better, but the defense even getting better. But I would say Alabama, and I would say Georgia second, and even ahead of Texas A&M, and then Texas A&M, and then probably Ole Miss.
You saw South Carolina up close and personal. That was the final game for Mike Shula as the offensive coordinator for the Gamecocks. I'm just curious, being around that program up close and personal on Saturday and being around some of the South Carolina people, do you sense that maybe next year, maybe Beamer, if he doesn't leave, maybe to go to Blacksburg or maybe he stays, I don't know. But do you sense that he could be squarely on that hot seat for 2026 based on the way this team has performed this year? Because they're paying a lot of money for their quarterback.
They're paying a lot of money for the quarterback, and I thought their defensive line was right up there with maybe the best that I've seen this year. Very athletic, very physical, really getting after it. But then Lenore Sellers, kind of whether it's poor coaching by Mike to him or the offensive staff, only 50 yards rushing for South Carolina. Ole Miss very much wanted him to try to beat them playing quarterback. They did not want him playing running back and running all over the place, and they didn't. And the more he was in the pocket, the better the Ole Miss pass rush got against him. But everything with South Carolina I saw coming at media days. I saw in the run-up to the season. There was no way they were going to be as good as they were last year. And all that stuff they talked to last year to the 3 regular season losses. Yeah, they lost a heartbreaker at LSU at home. They were getting ready to drive in and win, but the field got flipped. They lost. They lost 27-3 to Ole Miss, and they lost it at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium to Alabama. And they all talked the stuff the entire run-up to maybe being in the playoffs last year and all the offseason. Yeah, but if we played you now, well, that's not how it works. You play one time. You rarely get 2 shots in 1 year at anybody. You know, this isn't baseball, you know, in the National League East where you play somebody 18 times. You get one crack at them, and if you lose, clam up. And South Carolina talks all off season. I saw it coming, and it was fun to see it last Saturday play out.
With all of that being said, the anticipation has been building. It is time for Brett Norsworthy, the Southern Gentleman's I Ain't Scared bold prediction for the college football weekend as we cue the music, reveal the cape.
You got it last week. Maybe my best work last week. I felt it with SMU. They got there for me. It took the whole day to get there, but they did. And this week, I'm going to stay in the ACC, and I'm going to go with Wake Forest. I want my 6.5, but they're going to win straight up at Virginia. And y'all know who is offensive coordinator at Wake Forest, don't you?
I don't think I do.
Robbie Zell.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, Wake Forest straight up at Charlottesville.
Man, that would be a lot of fun. Well, Brett, appreciate you kind of switching times today. Kind of a crazy day, but appreciate it as always. Enjoy the weekend, and we look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry for being so hard to get a hold of today. I'm very sorry.
You're good.
Love you, Brett. Be careful.
Take care, brother.
Love y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you. That is Brett Norsworthy from WHBQ Radio, one of our most popular segments of the week. We appreciate Brett joining us every single Thursday on the show.
Robbie Zell, Athens, Alabama.
That's right.
Wasn't Wake Forest a team that was scared to play Ole Miss this year?
That is correct.
Rob wasn't. It was somebody else above his pay grade, just to be clear.
Another great segment we have each and every week is with Rodney Orr from Tighter Insider. We will talk to Rodney next, live from Tuscaloosa, as we roll on this Thursday.
I wonder if he's wearing his hot pants.
Hope so.
It's a big week.
Maybe the Zubas.
Ooh.